Welcome AP Stats students to our first day of kind of review for the AP exam. And what I want to do over the next four videos is really just kind of give you some background information that you need to know to be ready for that AP exam, especially this year, seeing as the AP exams are set up completely different than they've ever been in the past. And so if you've taken an AP exam before, you kind of know how they work, but it's different this year. So, and I'm sure you've been receiving emails from College Board, hopefully, that have kind of told you about that. But first of all, make sure you know the date for our test. Our test for AP Stats is going to be Friday, May 22nd, and that's at 2 p.m. And you need to make sure that you are free from 2 to 3 on that day so you can take the test. You will need to take this test your e-ticket that College Board will send you through your email. You should get that 2 days in advance of the test. Although on May 4th, you should get an email from College Board that just kind of confirms that you were signed up for the test and when all of your AP tests are. So you'll need that e-ticket that, like I said, you'll get 2 days before the test. Also, you will have an AP ID number, and that's probably going to be on that confirmation email that you get on May 4th, but it will also be on your e-ticket, and you're going to need that AP ID number in a couple of different places. So it's probably worthwhile to write it down somewhere where you've got it handy. There is an AP test checklist. You need that checklist. It's available on our Canvas AP resources page, but it's also available on the College Board page at that address that you see there on the screen. You will need a device with some kind of internet connection and some kind of browser. Now, the browser cannot be Internet Explorer. It needs to be Chrome, or it needs to be Firefox or Safari or Microsoft Edge or something like that. But Internet Explorer is not supported for the AP test. But as long as you have a device with an internet connection, you'll be fine. So you don't have to use your Chromebook. If you've got a desktop at home that you're more comfortable because it's got a bigger screen, or if you like a smaller screen and you want to use your phone, you're welcome to use that. Anything should work as long as it's got an internet connection that's not Internet Explorer. And you'll have a way to test that before the test that we'll talk about in the next couple of days. You will need something to show your work on. You can do that through a Google Doc. You can do that through a Microsoft Word document. You can do that with just regular paper and pencil. But you're going to need something to show your work on when you're taking the test. And then you can also have in front of you calculators, and then kind of the advantage this year that you don't normally have is you can have out notes and study guides and those sorts of things as well when you're taking your test. So just to kind of give you a quick overview of what that test is going to look like. You first of all need to make sure you check in 30 minutes before the test. So I'm telling you the test is at 2, but you really need to be ready to sign into that test at 1:30 so you can clear the security procedures. The test starts at 2 o'clock. And so if you are logging on at 1:58, you are probably not going to get through all the security stuff before the test starts. And so you're going to be losing time from your test as you're still trying to get past the security stuff. So try to get logged in as quickly as you can at 1:30. Take the time it takes to get through the security stuff, probably 5 or 10 minutes. And then you'll have some time to kind of relax and get your mind right before you start to take your test. Like I said, you can either type or handwrite your work. And you do want to make sure you clearly organize everything. And also on the top of each page, and you'll hear me say this a couple of times over the next several videos, but you need to make sure you have your AP ID number on that and also your initials at the top of each page. So whether you're typing it or whether you're writing it by hand, every page needs to have that information at the top of it. Because when you're done, what you're going to do is you're either going to, if you've typed it up, you're going to copy and paste that into a box on the test, or you're going to upload it as a whole document, or if you've written it out, you can just take a picture and you can upload it. But when you take a picture, you take one picture per page and then upload it with a maximum of 5 pages there. The important thing is you have to hit submit before the timer runs out on the screen. So you're going to start your test at 2 o'clock. You'll have 25 minutes to work on the test, and then there's a 5-minute window that you can hit submit. Put your attachments on it, hit submit. And so you have to hit submit before that timer runs out. And then once you do, it's okay if it's still uploading after the timer runs out. You just have to have hit submit and started that process before the timer runs out. So if you've got a slow internet connection, not a problem. Just hit submit and it can still be running in the background. Just don't close your browser while it's doing it. And you'll do that once for each question. So there's 2 questions. You'll upload twice, once at the end of question 1, once at the end of question 2. The first question is 25 minutes, and then you have a 5-minute window to upload. Second question is 15 minutes, and you have a 5-minute window to upload. Now, you may be thinking, what happens if my internet goes out? What happens if my Chromebook dies? What happens if, we lose power? What happens if, the cat gets loose and the dog starts chasing it through the room? And what happens if all this stuff it goes on, or any of this stuff goes on? And the fact is, if any of that goes on and you're distracted to the point where it is affecting your performance on the test, you can request a retake within 48 hours. Now, just simply running out of time is not a valid reason for a retake. You didn't get to the last question. You can't request a retake for that. But if you've got a technology issue that's caused it, if you've got some other, if you get sick in the middle of the test, if that causes it, you can request a retake if you need to. And that retake is like June 4th, I think, for stats. Now, keep in mind, though, you may not be able to answer every part of every question. First of all, you may not know how to, but second of all, you may just not have the time. And they've kind of designed the tests that way this year, because what they've tried to do is they've tried to give you, maybe on a certain question, they've given you 7 parts, and they are hoping that you can do really well on maybe 5 of those parts, well enough to convince them that you know what you're doing. If you don't get to the other 2 parts, it's not a big deal. So whenever you're working on that test, whatever parts you know how to do, you want to make sure you do them very well and very convincingly to them, show them that, yes, I understand stats. So focus on what you know. Don't stress out over the stuff you don't, because again, you're trying to convince them as you're showing your work and answering these questions that you understand the material. So you can still pass, you can still get a 5, even if you don't ever answer every single part of every question. So, or both questions. I guess there's only 2 questions there. So what do you need to do between now and the time the May 22nd? First of all, make sure you're getting your emails from College Board. And so if you're not, log on to the College Board website, update that email address so that you are going to be getting those emails. Because again, that's where your test ticket comes from. That's your entry into the test that you're going to take. Download that AP test checklist and start going through it. So again, that's available on Canvas. That's also available on the College Board site. There's also an AP testing guide, and that's important for you to go through and review that testing guide, because basically it's got all the policies for the exam, as well as some of the information I'm talking about here. But basically what they've said in the webinar is, if there is not a policy in that guidebook, that means there's no policy on that. So, calculators are a bad example, because I think it tells you in there you can use a calculator. But, if there's not a policy on something, then that means there's no policy. You can do it. Also, review old free response questions. And that's really going to be our focus in this class over the next several weeks, is working on through old free response questions. And so basically the way I've done that is I've set those up through MyOpenMath. I'm going to attach 1 or 2 YouTubes every day. That's just kind of a walkthrough of a sample free response question, or a couple of sample free response questions. You don't have to watch those, but I would encourage you to, especially if you want to do well in the AP test, to kind of go through and look at those free response videos, but then go to MyOpenMath and start working through the question there. And it's going to be designed and kind of to match the videos that I'm posting, or not I'm posting, but I'm posting for you through YouTube. So, again, use that as a reference, but work through those assignments. As you work through the assignments, if you have questions, instead of emailing me, what I'd really like for you to do is I've opened a discussion board on Canvas for AP questions. I'd like for you to post it on there. And that way, if somebody else has the same question, they can just see it on the discussion board, as opposed to, me having to answer the same email 3 or 4 times. And so use that discussion board as you come across questions about content, or just in the exam in general. There's also a discussion board for just general AP exam questions. And finally, something else you can be doing as you're preparing for the AP test year is kind of make a list of notes of things that you want to remember for that exam. I know you've got your notes from all year, but that's a lot of stuff to flip through while you're taking the test. Try to consolidate it down to 1 or 2 pages so that you know where stuff is. And so as you're doing these free response questions, if there's something you think, I need to write that down so I don't forget when I'm taking the test, start making a list of those things, a page of those things, so you've got those in front of you whenever you get ready to take the test on test day. So make that reference for you as you're going through over the next couple of days. So you're ready to start your first free response question assignment. So again, the YouTube videos that are posted here are optional. You don't have to watch those, but I would strongly encourage you doing that. They're about 5 to 10 minutes a piece, and then go on to MyOpenMath and work through that assignment. The way those assignments are set up is you get 4 chances at each each part of the problem. But after the third chance, it's going to give you a button where you can click and it'll show you what the answer is. So hopefully, I don't want you to just click through it the first 3 times so you can get to that. I want you to try it, but hopefully then by the fourth time, you can see what the answer is supposed to be, so you can still get the right answer on that assignment. And then if you need to, you can post a question on the discussion board about it. So anyway, you're getting ready to start that. So good luck with that. And again, if you have any questions, so you can still email me. You can still get to me through Canvas Messenger, but also make sure you use that discussion board. All right. Good luck.